Alright guys, so today we're going to be going over how to laminate complex structures. So obviously this is not just a flat wing like let's say a Legit wing. This is the Team Legit Wombat. And so obviously we have this rounded fuselage that we're going to be laminating. The back portion of the airplane has already been laminated. So what we're looking at today is just laminating the wings and also the fuselage. Now this is a prototype airplane, and technically I should have laminated these wings in the wing beds before I glued them into the fuselage, but that was a planning mistake that I did, so we're just going to deal with it. What you don't want to do when you're laminating this in the way that I'm doing it is to put too much pressure on the wing to flex it and warp it. Now I have enough carbon sparring through here that I think I should be just fine. So what we're going to do is laminate one wing and then the other, then we'll tackle the fuselage, and then we'll also lay some of the laminate from the fuselage to the wings as well. So alright guys, I'm doing a few things new here. I have never done an airplane like this. And I'm also using a new adhesive today. And normally I use Super 77. Today I'm using 3M High Strength 90. I think there's supposed to be one that's called M90, but I'm not sure if this is the correct one. I put 2 coats on the airplane already, and one of the traits of this is that it doesn't keep everything white. So I wanted this to be real white, but I knew it was going to yellow, so I knew that in advance. And it's not quite as tacky that I noticed as the Super 77. So I don't know what's going to happen when I laminate it, but we shall check that out. My laminating iron for Legit wings and whatnot, put it on a medium heat. What you do want to have is a cut-off knife and also a nice pair of scissors that you can cut the laminate with. And I also have a small roll of laminate. Okay, let's go ahead and just take out some of this laminate. We'll get it cut up and starting to start to laminate here. So. Normally what you want to do is start on the top here, wrap your way around the wing, and then back up to the top again. Let's see if I can do that here. So I'll be cutting these through. So I'm probably going to do this, like I said, in 2 halves. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down the middle because we don't need it to be connected at any points here. In a way, making this up as I go. So this is a tutorial, and it's also a bit of learning along with me. So if you're not in that for that kind of a ride, then you can switch off now. Alright, so let's see here. What you always want to do is plan out how you're going to be laminating. Like this, you could laminate it from the bottom, this edge up and around, which I think we might actually end up doing. It might be good to go from the underside. I'm just going to kind of plan this out to the top, and then bring this over the top and then finish it on the bottom. I think we're going to do that, so we'll go ahead and do this wing first here. Start right here. We're going to have a little bit overlap on the leading edge here. The reason we want that is as this comes back around, we want it to relap over the leading edge. It'll give the leading edge much stronger presence here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to laminate it right up to the edge of the fuselage here, then I'll go ahead and cut that. I might dart it to where we'll have a little bit of overlap as well. So first things first here, I'm going to, and we have these complex portions right here as well, so I'm going to be cutting that out as well. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is actually laminate up to here. I'll do some cuts, maybe here to here to here, and then we'll actually overlap these pieces here. So, and like I said, this M90 that I'm using is a little different than what I'm used to, so let's see what we're gonna be up to here. Anytime you pull the laminate too tight, it tends to wrinkle, so I'm just gonna push this down here, just like this, just one stripe. Really gonna get it in there. I'm gonna see how this new adhesive that I'm not used to is gonna adhere to the wing. Like I said, it's a little bit more yellow than I'm used to, so I may. The whole purpose of this laminate, of course, is to adhere the laminate to the wing, and so that is the most paramount thing. So I don't mind the little bit of a color change here. That's looking good already. So I'm gonna keep this going down here. What you like to do is kind of work it out with your hand to kind of feel how everything's gonna lay out. It's gonna go like this here. When you do it in stripes like I did, you prevent what's called running wrinkles that will run, which is not good. Okay, so we're coming up to our first complex shape here, which is this. It's a 90-degree up and then over here. So I'm gonna laminate all the way up to this point, and then we'll tackle this complex shape here. There we go. Looking nice. No wrinkles so far. Gonna really get this tied in there. Now I have an option of either cutting this out, which I think I will do, and I can always go back and put another piece of laminate over it to kind of seal the two pieces together. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that so this lays flat, because if I get this wrinkled here, it's gonna be wrinkled here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pierce this here with my very sharp knife. We'll cut around this boom here. Like the boom is slightly raised off of the this surface here. So here we go. Alright, so I've got this little piece here cut out. Let's go ahead and lay this all the way down onto the wing here. So I'm gonna be going all the way up to this edge here. I'll probably carry this onto the body here. So first thing I want to do is flatten out this section here, and I can probably leave this up here and then just laminate that down just to reinforce everything that's going on there. So once again, I'm going to pet this with my hand, not pulling it, but just kind of feeling it into place here. So I've got a stripe here, I've got a laminate here now, and like I said, this prevents those running wrinkles. And I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the wing at all. Like I said, I probably should have laminated this beforehand, but it just didn't work out that way. So I'm going to go ahead and laminate all the way up to the body here, the fuselage. I want to try and keep this as flat as I can as I come through here. So, you know, maybe, let's see here. I don't want the influence of this curve to be influencing what's going on right here. So, alright, so I'm going to go ahead and laminate up to there. This little 90-degree bit right here. Alright, there we go. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this and I'm going to go ahead and laminate this over the top just to give it a little bit more reinforcement on the boom. That's going to look perfect. Alright. Okay. So what I'm going to do is cut this across here, then I'll wrap this over around to the top of the wing here. I'm going to go ahead and cut this through here. There's a little bit of a complex shape right here where there's a ramp that goes down and a little step here. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this out here and here. And we'll get that complex shape out of the way. So, alright, so here, this needs to wrap around, so I'm going to basically cut it from here out. Get it like this. There we go. And I'm going to end this piece right here at the end of the end of the fuselage here. So I'm just going to make a generalized cut there. Okay, so this is obviously curved here, which is curved here as well. So what I'm going to do is what's called a darting technique, dart, D-A-R-T. So since this is curved, I need to make a relief, because if I didn't make this relief here, this would just stay real wrinkly. So I'm going to make these darts here. And what you want to do is kind of with your hand, just make sure that each one of these are going to lay flat. And you want to lay down the back one first, because as this one overlaps, you don't want to have those overlaps catching air. You want to have them overlapped in this direction. So the air comes here, it needs to be overlapped like this, not like this. So we're going to do the back first here. So we'll lay all these out so they don't get caught. And go ahead and laminate this guy here. Just going to lay that over, get it tacked into place. Be careful not to put your iron on the foam itself, because you will get some of the spray adhesive on the iron, and it can just gum up your iron, then it doesn't lay smooth here. We're just doing one layer at a time here, making sure it's butted up against the fuselage, and bring this over. There we go. Don't worry if there's small gaps between these layers, because we can always come back with another piece of laminate So the nice thing about this laminate is this: if you put a second layer on it, you will never even notice it because it's can be well hidden. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much it for the bottom here. Let me go ahead and put this down as well, real quick. All right. So we're going to go ahead and laminate here, and we'll tuck this to the other side. There we go. So that was our first complex piece there. It came out really nice. I'm going to go ahead and make a little cut right here. So this is not going to wrinkle up. I'm going to make this little butt piece here. Okay, you can see this is kind of bunching up right here. I'm going to make another dart right here. That way I can just overlap this like that, and then we won't have that big bunch of laminate in one spot there. Okay. Alright, so that's looking good. Don't worry if these fringe edges are not tacked down yet. You don't want to get your iron into the spray adhesive like I was saying before. Okay, so now that we've got that done, we're going to wrap the front edge of the wing here first, and then we're going to wrap the back side. We're going to bring that all the way around, and we're probably going to have a gap probably over here that's not in the right spot, but we can always add a second piece if we need to. So I'm going to pull this slightly tight. I'm just going to go ahead and put this heat here on just the first leading edge here. Okay, and I'm going to bring this over a little bit at a time. This is where it takes, it's going to take a little bit of time to, this front edge is always the most important. It's a little hard to handle here. I'm going to put this Emax box. It's perfect for the size that we're doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and tack this into place here. There we go. There we go. I want to make sure that that's not bunched up on the leading edge, because then you change that with airfoil. Alright, so a little bit of wrinkling there, nothing too terrible. Okay, so we got that tacked into place. Don't worry, like I said, if it's not fully in place. Okay, so now we're going to bring this over. I can see it's already bunching up right here, so I need to take and get some relief here from that. There we go. Okay, so I brought the trailing edge up, so we're going to have a little corner here. We can put a little piece of laminate underneath there before we get this all tacked down. We'll go ahead and make a little bit more relief, more of a relief cut here. I think I'll do the same thing I did on the other side, where I'll come right up to this boom here. I'll get everything flat down through here. Now I've got these servo horns here. I'm just going to poke a little tiny hole through here. Alright, so this looks like it wants to get kind of wrinkly on us, so we need to plan this out really good here. Alright, so first off, let's get this guy going here. First thing I would do is run the iron over the back edge of this wing right here. Okay, so the most important part is you can take your hands and kind of iron it out with your hands, and once we get to here, we're going to cut this off and wrap this around the front edge here to make it a nice leading edge there. Okay, so I can see this really is going to want to wrinkle up, so I'm going to try and lay it pretty neutral here so we're not dragging anything up. So I'm going to go with a little bit of pressure. You don't want to pull it like I was saying before. It's going to go like this, very lightly. Do one stripe. It's going to tack everything in place there. I'm going to go ahead and cut this through here as well so we don't get wrinkles on the other side. So I'm just going to show you guys how to basically do this first wing, and then we will go to the fuselage. I'll do this one off camera so that you guys aren't sitting through the same thing over and over again, because I like you guys. I want you to come back. Alright, yeah, I don't want to bore you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this right here. I'm just going to go ahead and tack this into place. Alright, we'll start to tack here. When you do it in stripes like this, like I said it before, I'm sorry, it's going to sound like a broken record, but yeah, it basically prevents running wrinkles. So, and like I said, I'm not pressing down hard here because I don't want to warp the wing either. Alright. Anytime I do press hard, I go ahead and support it to make sure there's no flexing going on. There we go. Looking nice. Looking really nice. All right. Okay. So let's get this right up to the. I can go right to the point of the wing that's going to hit right here. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. I'm not going to cut this completely off, but I'm going to just go like this. Take off all this excess here, so we're not dealing with all that extra. Okay, and here's the bit from the other side. I'm going to wrap this up to here, and we will get this tacked down into place. So, guys, stay tuned to my channel. I'm going to be doing a Sharpie design on this airplane. I've done this before in the past. It comes out really nice. It's something that's kind of like my signature design, and hopefully it'll be awesome. Hopefully you guys will stay with me for that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to iron this all the way up to the fuselage body, which is rounded again. So I'm going to put these dart marks in here one more time. So it's just taking each little curved section and cutting a little piece as a relief. There we go. So now you can see that's laying down much nicer now. Alright, let's do it. Let's go for it. The nice thing about laminating is that most mistakes can be corrected as well. So, like if you make a mistake, you can just rip the whole thing off and start over again, which is nice. We literally have no major wrinkles in this wing. Let me just, I can't really see what you guys can see right now, but it looks pretty nice. So I'm going to go ahead and layer this over the top of the wing. So now we're actually going to have a triple layer on this leading edge here. I'm not going to make it go far down on the wing. I'm just going to have it go to about right here, just the first 1.5 inches or so of the wing. There we go. So even though I've never made this airplane before, and I really didn't have I should have laminated this before I glued the wings in, still, it's something you can get around with creative lamination work. So there we go. I'm going to have a little bit of wrinkle here, darn it. Well, actually, this is going to be bunched up right here, so here's what I'm going to do. Since this is extra, I'm just going to put a little dart there. There's that word, the dart. And now I can just lay one over the other. No more wrinkle. Isn't that awesome? And you'll never see it. You'll never be able to detect that on the build, which is kind of cool. So there's a little bit of a step here on the front of these this house here. I'm either going to taper those off or I'm going to glue a little piece of foam on the top of that just to make it more aerodynamic. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of this off here. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other wing, then we'll get along to the fuselage. Alright, so I want to make sure I have enough to go all the way around the nose cone, so right to about there. Yep. And unfortunately I got a little bit of dirt on the fuselage here when it was tacked up with the adhesive, so make sure you guys don't do that if you can. Okay, so this is going to wrap around, that's going to wrap around. Okay, so about equal amount on either side here. It's plenty enough to wrap all the way up to the top of this. Okay, so basically I'm going to run the iron straight down like this, and then we're going to dart as we go. So let's try that. Just going to real lightly laminate this here. We get this little flat piece here. That'll be kind of our anchor piece there. I'm going to slowly go out until I start to see a little bit of wrinkling, which is about to right there. So about this much, you can probably get away with getting off pretty flat here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Nice and flat, no wrinkles anywhere yet. So I'll go all the way to the tip here. And I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the very nose cone there. I might be putting my FPV camera there. I'm not quite sure yet though. Okay, so I'm going to tackle this section first and then this section second, I think. So it looks like, so since I'm not going to wrap this all the way around, I'm going to go ahead and take off this section here up to about right here and down straight along the wing here. Okay, so looks like I'm going to dart right here. You can basically see where the major curvature portions are on the fuselage here. So if you can just take your hand and push this down to the wing here and it doesn't deform, then you're good to go. Once again, laminate from the back forward so you have your overlaps facing the correct direction here. Just gotta kind of tack these into place. This is going to make it really strong from fuselage to wing, which is going to be pretty sweet. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this all the way up to the wing here. There we go. I'm going to cut that in half so we don't get a wrinkle. So when you put, like I was saying on these darts, it's almost like putting shingles on a house, how you want the rain to fall onto the next shingle. So the same thing with the laminate, you want it to go step downwards as it goes here. So. I like one of Casey Neistat's quotes. He said, "Don't let perfection be the enemy of progress." You want to progress through some of these things. You're gonna get some wrinkles at some point. Don't feel heartbroken because it's not the end of the world. Everything can be corrected on this, so which is cool. Luckily, I haven't gotten any major wrinkles. You can see some kind of wrinkly type of stuff, but it's not anything major. It's when you get the major wrinkles is where you kind of need to start over. But luckily, we haven't gotten any of those yet. So there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and laminate this all the way down to the wing there. There we go. All right. And so now we've got like 3 layers here and here. It's going to really help hold that fuselage much more. So if there wasn't 3 layers, I'm going to fan this out by hand again. So I definitely need one right about here. Probably go here, here, and here. Let's see how we do here. Do one right here as well. If you've got a round structure here, imagine it like being the rays of the sun. You want it to be in a radial pattern going outward from the center of the circle, if that makes any sense. So here, just kind of tack into place. Nothing too permanent to start with. I'm pulling it, but not super tight. Like I said, when you pull it super tight, that's kind of when all the wrinkles start happening. You start distorting things. Just tuck. Do the next one here. Like I said, you can always come back and seal up any little pockets of haze on here that you see. You can always see that the laminate's always a little hazy, and then when you start to laminate, it starts to get much more clear. Alright, there we go. That's looking really nice. We can actually run some of this into this pocket of the fuselage to help strengthen it up as well. Alright, so here we go. So we're going to get this little bit of a wrinkling here, but on such a complex structure like this, it's not a big deal at all. That you just have to live with that stuff. Don't be such a control freak. Alright, here we go. Now I'm just going to kind of go through and just laminate, laminate, laminate. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and continue this all the way over to the other side. I'm going to go ahead and put these back over, just like we did before. Just going to kind of tack it into place. Kind of get a nice shape going. Alright. Once again, we're going to lay these 4 up here. We'll take this 5th one here. We'll go ahead and start to lay this over. See if we can get this in camera for you guys. Sorry if it's not. I'm just doing this really quickly because I can go back over as soon as I get everything tacked in place and just shore everything up here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to take this and just go back and forth. You never want to keep the iron in one spot for too long. There we go. And it's going on really nice here. Alright, there we go. So that is how you laminate a very round structure with flat, two-dimensional laminate, okay? Alright guys, so I think you know how the rest of this is going to go. Now stay tuned for my Sharpie tutorial. It's actually not going to be a tutorial, it's just going to be how I'm going to do this design. I'm going to put a little image up on the screen here. This is what I'm going to be going for. I'm going to do it all by hand and all by marker. So guys, thank you so much for joining my channel. Hopefully this was helpful and informative to you guys. So far I think that new the spray adhesive is interesting. It's a little more yellow, but and it's not quite as tacky when you're putting it on. But from what I've heard from a friend of mine, Volcar, is that it actually sticks to the foam much better than Super 77. So, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.